Welcome back, everybody, to the Raiders roster report. This is Raider Sparks. Today's April 18th, and today I thought we would take a look at the Raiders' current roster for cornerbacks and, take a look at some draft prospects the Raiders might be considering this upcoming draft for their cornerback position. In recent videos, we've already went over the safety position. I've given you my thoughts and my predictions of who I think would be a best fits for the Raiders at the safety position and where they should draft their safety needs and how to handle those concerns. We've also went over the offensive line with tackles and guards as well. Kind of gave an overview of what Tom Cable would be looking for and kind of showed the depth of this coming draft with the tackle class, and also put in some guards as well as for what might be likely to be picked by the Raiders based on what Tom Cable has done in the past. Let's see. We've also looked at we've done the safety position, the line position, and we've done the interior defensive line position as well. And I kind of gave an overview of what I thought the Raiders would be looking for and kind of their draft strategy when it comes to the interior defensive line. Got a lot of feedback on that video. Definitely thank everybody for those who have been subscribing to the channel. Things are going well. Like always, if you like it, please like the channel, add comments, share the video. It'll get the word out, get some more comments flowing in, and we can get the more conversation going. But I really appreciate all the feedback that's been given. Anyways, yeah. So let's get into the quarterback situation for the Raiders, and it's interesting because the cornerback situation is such an athletic position that the athletic traits I think really are so vital to success. I mean, you can kind of get away with some other stuff if you're in different parts of football, but this position is so athletic and demanding, and the traits have to be there, and the scheme fit and everything else has to go just right for the player to be successful. So if we look at our current roster, and I kind of look at some of the combine results, I guess, from some of the current players, we have basically 6 cornerbacks on the team, and I believe we'll keep 6 on the roster. So 2 slot and 4 outside cornerbacks, I think, is probably what the makeup would be. Ideally, you probably want some versatility, though, so maybe some guys that could play in and out, both. But some of the numbers that from the combines, I'm not sure they translate to Gus Bradley and what he might be looking for. I mean, if I kind of look at our current players, and we got Keeson at 5'8", Amik at 5'7", and Nevin at 5'7", all kind of would be slot guys. I know Keeson's played some outside, but I don't think he's going to be playing outside in this system, especially at 5'8.5". They're all below 200 pounds. Like Amik's 187. Shorter arms are 30 or 31-inch arms, so not real tall, long, lengthy. And speed-wise, they're all about the same at the 40, 4.42, 4.48 for Lawson. Meeks is a little bit weird because his combine, he didn't do the combine. He actually just sent in a video, him and his buddies, it looked like did, to the teams, and he was projected to run a 4.6, and in that video he showed a 4.45, and I'm not sure that he's a 4.45 guy, but we'll see. I mean, I hope the best. I think he's going to get a shot based on where we drafted him. He's only been here a year. Obviously didn't look great when we played him last year, but again, that could have been the scheme or whatnot. But I'm not sure how Gus Bradley is going to evaluate our slot quarterback position. Obviously, we did address it in a small way, getting back Nevin Lawson. Personally, I wasn't thrilled with the move. I didn't think he played great for us. But if you watch some tape, I saw some tape breakdown of him in the slot, playing zone in the slot, and he actually was pretty good at doing that. And so I think that's, I guess, how we're going to address the slot position is play more of a zone concept or a little off-ball slot cornerback than press up there. So, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. for Nevin Lawson. But the one thing with Nevin Lawson is he had 16 bench press reps, which one thing I noticed is Gus Bradley likes his cornerbacks to be strong, and showing 16 reps is a good sign. Keeson and Amik, neither of them did the bench press, and my concern with Keeson is his short shuttle and his 3-cone. And his combine short shuttle was 4.52, and his 3-cone was 7.28. And if you're going to play the slot, you got to be sub 7 at the 3-cone. I mean, that's ideal, right? To be sub 7, and then 4.52 is not going to get it done in the slot. So I'm not sure about Keeson, and Amik again didn't do it, and I'm concerned with his quickness as well if he's got the juice to do it. If we go down and look at Trayvon Mullen, I think everybody believes he's definitely one of our outside cornerbacks, and so do I. 6'1", 199, 31-inch arms, 75 wing, 4.46 40, and a 34.5 vertical, which is not a great explosion, but it's okay. The problem is with his combine, he didn't do the rest of the drills either, so we're not sure about the rest of the athleticism, but he's got enough tape with us to know that I believe he's going to be able to get the job done on the outside in this scheme. 6'1", he's tall, he's at the 200-pound mark, which is what Gus wants. I believe there's no issues there with Trayvon. Damon Arnette, a little bit of an issue. I mean, he's 5'10", so he's a little shorter for what Gus would want on the outside. 195. He's got the weight. 30-inch arms, though, so he doesn't have the length. And a 4.56 40, which would be okay if you compare it to, like, Richard Sherman. But the issue is Damon Arnette, I don't believe, or I couldn't find the information on the rest of the drills. So I'm not sure how his bench was, if he's strong. I don't know how his 3-cone or short shuttle was. I'm not sure. The one guy I do know is very athletic and fits the profile perfectly is Isaiah Johnson, 6'1.5", 208, 33-inch arms. I mean, 79.5 wing, 4.40 40, which is excellent. 36.5 vert, which is good. 4.06 short shuttle, which is fantastic, and a 6.81 3-cone. This is exactly what we want athletically from our cornerbacks. So Isaiah Johnson, I don't think is going to have an issue making this team. Athletically, he profiles exactly what we're looking for. And to sort of tell you what I mean by that, Richard Sherman, when he was drafted, 6'2", 195, 32-inch arms, 9.75 hands. He had a 40 at 4.54, which is comparable to Damon Arnette at 4.56. But his vert was 38, his broad jump 12.5, short shuttle 4.33, and a 3-cone 6.86. So you can see the athleticism there. He had 16 reps on the bench press. Now Isaiah, I don't know his bench press. It wasn't listed. But that's what I mean by the strength. He wants guys to be on the corner and be able to be strong. If you look at Jalen Ramsey, 6'1", 209, 33-inch arms, 9.5 hands, 79.6 wingspan, 4.41 40, 41.5 vert, 13.5 broad jump, 4.18 short shuttle, and 6.94 3-cone, 14 bench press reps. So, again, very, very athletic. I mean, a 4.41 and a 4.18 short shuttle. I mean, fantastic numbers for him. So this is the deal. So Damon Arnette, I mean, he was a first-round pick last year. We all know that. And so it's going to be an interesting decision on how Gus Bradley sees him, because that'll really, I believe, determine how we draft our cornerback. If he doesn't think that Damon Arnette can handle the outside and the press bail technique, cover 3 position, then the only option would be for to move him to the slot, let him give it a shot there, and then us get a outside cornerback in the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see. I still am of the belief that we're going to somehow figure out how to get a veteran outside cornerback. However, it's going to be difficult because the salary cap wise. And if you want to know about that, a week ago I did a video on Raiders salary cap update and how to add Richard Sherman and a veteran free safety and what that would look like for our salary cap. So if you wanted to go check that out, obviously we did add a veteran free safety, Carl Joseph, and we have cut a couple players, Arden Key and Mo Hurst, but there's still plenty of work to do if we wanted to bring on a Richard Sherman, something like that, or even Casey Hayward. to kind of fill in the roster for a veteran. But I do think that's going to happen. But again, a lot's going to depend on Damon Arnette as well, on how Gus decides he's going to fit into this offense. That's going to be interesting. So let's just say, you know what, Damon Arnette's, let's say he's going to move to the slot, because he did play slot at Ohio State. And I don't know about a 4.56 in the slot. I don't know. I heard that he had one of the best short shuttle times out of college, but I can't find it anywhere listed. The reason I say that is because I read an article on Benjamin St-Juste when I was going over his stuff, and I'll get to him in a minute, but his short shuttle was incredible. And they referenced Arnette in the same article, saying that the prior year that Benjamin St-Juste would have had the best short shuttle over the next best in that class, which would have been Damon Arnette. So apparently he had a really good short shuttle. I just can't find it anywhere, the numbers on it. So if that's the case, then he would be fine in the slot. But let's see what happens here. So if the Raiders were going to go Melifonwu, Tim Melifonwu, so we all know the last name. We drafted his brother, and that was an absolute disaster. We all know that. So from a fan standpoint, I don't want to draft him because of that. I have a bad taste in my mouth from that. However, I can't hold that against him. His tape is really good. He fits the cover 3 concept really well, and his pro day was fantastic. So yeah, cornerback out of Syracuse, 6'2", 205, 32-inch arms, 78-inch wingspan, 4.48 40, 41.5 vertical, 11.8 broad jump, 4.25 short shuttle, and 6.88 3-cone and 16 bench press reps. I mean, he fits perfectly within what Gus Bradley would be looking for. And in fact, most of the articles you read about him is the cover 3 teams in the league are like all over this guy, that this is like their prototypical outside cornerback for a cover 3 zone team. The one thing in evaluating the cornerbacks, if you just rely on the mock draft simulators, it's really all over the board. Like PFM has them at going 36, Draft Network 78, and PFF 70. So, I predict he's a second-round pick. It's kind of where I think he'll go, just because there's some cover 3 teams out there like the Seahawks that I'm sure would want him. I'm sure Dallas with Dan Quinn will want him. I'm sure Atlanta is going to want him. I think the Raiders, he fits into their plans very well. So if they're not going to get the veteran outside cornerback, or if they think Arnette is a slot cornerback, then look for the Raiders to possibly go after him. Might be the fit. Me personally, I think Paulsen Adebo out of Stanford is also a cover 3 target like nobody else. All the same teams I just mentioned are going to be all over him as well. 2018, a spectacular year, and then he kind of dropped off a little bit after that. But physically, he's got all the tools you would want for a cover 3 cornerback. 6'1", 198, 31.5-inch arms, 10-inch hands, which explains his ball production. He's probably the best ball skills in the draft on the outside cornerback, and that helps with the 10-inch hands. 4.42 240, which is great. 36.5 vert, 12.1 broad jump, very athletic. A 4.09 short shuttle, and a 6.70 3-cone, and 18 bench press reps. So, I mean, he might be taking over Melifonwu. I'm not sure, just because he has a down year or a couple down years. But, I mean, PFM has him at 100, Draft Network 91, and PFF has him 126. So I predict he goes in the 3rd round. So if the Raiders were able to address some other needs on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive line in the first 2 rounds, and come out of the draft with Paulsen in the 3rd round, I think that would be fantastic. I mean, he's a good tackler. He's perfect for the cover 3 scheme. He does gamble some, he gets beat, but I think that's more coachable. But anyways, he can play right or left side, doesn't matter. He even played a little bit in the slot, so he's got a little tape there. Doing that, just a real productive player. He's going to be. I think he's going to be a terrific in zone coverage and an outside cornerback scheme. But it also has the versatility to kick in if we need him to. I think it would be a really great player for the Raiders to pick up. So that's one to watch. Maybe put him on the radar as well. Let's see here. The next guy is Robert Richelle out of Central Arkansas. He had, I think, all of the scouts at his pro day. They all wanted to see what this guy could do. 5'11", 193, 32-inch arms, 8'3" inch hands, 79 wingspan, 4'3", 40, 43 vert. I mean, very athletic. 11'1" broad jump, 4'08" short shuttle, and a 6'8", 4'3" cone. My issue is he only had 9 reps at the bench press. So a lot of people were projecting him to be like maybe the number 1 slot corner, which I believe Aaron Robinson by far is, or Elijah Molden. And I don't have them on the list just because I think they're going to be second rounders. I just don't want us drafting a slot cornerback in the second round. It doesn't make sense, I don't think, for the Raiders to do so. But I also don't think Robert Richelle is necessarily a slot cornerback. His film, his tape shows he's got a little bit tight hips. I think the Senior Bowl showed it, kind of exposed it a little bit. So I think if you're to draft him, you'd be drafting him as a outside cornerback. He's a little under 6 foot, but not much. 5'11", it's not bad. He's got some physical tools, but he needs to get stronger. To me, the strength shows up as well on the film. So he needs to get stronger. And then I don't know. PFN has him at 89, Draft Network 121, and PFF 139. I think he's going to be a third-round pick. Somebody's going to fall in love with some of these numbers. I mean, they're fantastic athletic numbers. 4.39 with a 43 vert and a 4.08 short shuttle is fantastic. And a 6.8 4.3 cone. Just his strength, he needs to build it up. And the hips, I don't know. I don't think you can play a guy with tight hips in the slot. I don't think that's going to be a very good fit. So I think he'd be an outside cornerback, and I'm not sure he fits our scheme being 5'11", and the lack of the strength there. So I'm not sure he's going to be the target for the Raiders for that pick. But I wanted to include him on here just so you had him on the radar. I know a lot of people are going to talk about him. That's kind of my just analysis of him as a player. Benjamin St. Juste. Cover 3 guy, big time. I think would thrive at the outside cornerback with our system. 6'3.5", 202, 32-inch, 5/8 arms, 9'3" hands, 78 wingspan, 4'5", 140, which is fine. I mean, if you look at Richard Sherman, 4'5'4". He's got a vert of 34.5, 9'11" broad jump, but his short shuttle 3.96. That is off the charts, fantastic, and a 6'3'6", 3 cone. You can tell he's long, lengthy. The problem is I don't know his bench press. I don't think he did it, so I'm not sure the strength is there. But on film, he looks fine strength-wise. At the Senior Bowl, he looked fine. I mean, he did pretty well. Tight coverage, man-to-man, sticky coverage, not that guy. But in zone coverage, where we'd have him press bail, covering the third of the field with that length, that size, I think he would be a terrific pickup for the Raiders. So to be able to play that outside cornerback position, I think would be a really good asset for us. So if we're projecting Arnette in the slot, then look for one of these guys I just mentioned to maybe step in and come in and compete for one of the cornerback spots. Because I think Robert Richelle is a little bit on the fence for me just because of his strength, and he's not quite over that 6 foot, but Melifanu meets perfectly the requirements. I just have some hesitation because of his brother, but that's something I guess I have to get over as a fan. Adebo would be perfect pick. I mean, I don't think the Raiders would go wrong there. He's got everything you could possibly want from a cover 3 outside cornerback. And then Benjamin St. Juste, I think, has everything you could possibly want from outside cornerback for a cover 3, except his strength. I don't know the number. So as long as that would check out, those would be perfect candidates for the Raiders, I believe. But there are some others as well. So Trey Williams, one of my favorite players in the draft, really productive player. He gets turnovers. And what I like about him is he can play outside, inside, and safety. So if the Raiders really aren't sure about Arnette and they want to be able to kind of hedge their bet a little bit and get either a slot or outside or even a safety, Trey Williams could play all 3. He plays all 3 really well. The draft status for him is all over the board. PFN has it 158, Draft Network 115, and PFF 138. I think he's going to be a round 4 guy. His measurables are good. He just didn't do a lot of the athletic drills. So he's 6'2", 198. So he meets that profile perfectly. 4'4", 40 inch vert. So he's got that athleticism and a 12.3 broad jump and 20 on the bench press. So he's got the strength to handle it. I think he'd be a terrific pick for the Raiders in the 4th round if we were able to get him. The only problem here is he has had some injuries, so maybe he had to medically check it out. And he didn't do this, or I couldn't find the numbers on the short shuttle and the 3-cone, which would be something that I would definitely want to look into before I draft him, because I would want to make sure he's, in that, at least a short shuttle, at least in that sort of 4.3 area, no more than 4.3, and sort of under that 7 3-cone drill. We'd want to see that athleticism. So, anyways, I think that would be a good 4th round pick for the Raiders. Another player that I really like, in fact, the more I watch, the more I like, is Marco Wilson, 6'1", 191. 30-inch arms, a little short, 9.58 hands, but he ran a 4.37 40, 44-inch vert, 13.6 broad jump, a 4.13 short shuttle, and a 6.8 3-cone, and 26 bench press reps. So he's super strong. Marco Wilson, he is projected this is one of the ones that's just crazy. PFN 327, Draft Network 149, PFF 135. I think he's round 4, but I think he might climb more. He's inside. A lot of his tape is outside, but I think he projects well inside as well. That athleticism, you bank on that in the 4th round. If you got him in the 4th round with that athleticism, you're going to make a shot at it. In fact, you know what? Chris Sims had him at his number 6 overall cornerback. And, take it for what it is. But Chris Sims predicted last year's cornerbacks, and he was spot on with who was going to be the best cornerbacks in the league. So take that for what it's worth. Good in zone coverage. I know that great. He'd be perfect for cover 3. I did read an article where the Dan Quinn of the Cowboys were looking strongly at him for their slot cornerback position. So same scheme we run. So that's something that I believe the Raiders are probably very much interested in. And this would be another great pick like Trey Williams, because if we're not sure of Arnette, or they want to get some more time to see if he's an outside cornerback, Marco Wilson can come in and play either slot or compete for that outside cornerback. And with that athleticism, you definitely give that a shot. I would that would be a great pick for the Raiders if they were able to get him somehow in round 4. So keep Marco on the list of possibilities. So another guy that's talked about a lot is Tay Gowan out of UCF. 6'1", 186, a little lighter. He'd have to put on a little bit of weight. 31-inch arms, 8.5 hands, but he ran a 4.44 40, 35.5 vert, 9.10 broad jump, and a 6.88 3-cone. So that's really good. 13 reps, so it's not bad. He plays a lot longer than what's shown with 31-inch arms. He seemed like on tape he's good ball production, good ball skills. In 2019. Let's see here. 9 of the 12 games that he played cornerback in, he gave up 25 yards or less. That's very good. So he's got the numbers to back it up in 2019. Fantastic. He didn't play last year, so there's that. But what I saw from him in the 2019 was really, really good, outstanding stuff. From a draft, board's perspective, he is another guy that is just all over the board. PFM has him at 300, Draft Network has him at 210, and PFF has him at 69. 69, they have him at round 2, and PFM has him undrafted. So where he goes, I have no idea where this man goes. It was all going to be about the evaluation. If I had to predict it, I would guess for the 5th round, kind of where some of these other guys might go. But if somebody really falls in love with him, I guess 69. That's a pretty. I guess that is round 3. Yeah, that would be round 3. So that's still pretty aggressive to pick him there. But I think he would fit our scheme very well with his length, athleticism, his ball skills. I think he'd be a very good fit for the Raiders. Anyways, moving on. Israel Mukamumu. I can't say his last name. I apologize. Out of South Carolina. This is an interesting prospect. 6'4", 212, 80 and 3/4 wingspan. You can see that here on the picture. 36 and a half vertical. I didn't get any of the other numbers on him, so I'm not sure athletically how gifted he is. That's something that would need to be researched. However, I do know from his film that when he's up on the line, especially in the slot, he's able to bat balls down. I saw so many slants that he was covering, just knocking balls down close to the end zone, knocking balls down with those arms. I'm not sure, again, how athletic he is. However, could be an interesting pick because one article I read, his comp for the NFL was Brandon Browner, who, as probably everybody knows, is one of the original members of the Legion of Boom with Gus Bradley. So there is that there is that connection. But he can play outside. He can play slot on the bigger receivers, tight ends. He can match up well. Lots of pass breakups. He can also play our strong safety position. This would be an interesting pick because with Gus Bradley, he plays a lot of times with three safeties, so he might put in a box safety or strong safety. He might also have a safety guarding a bigger receiver, then have his free safety as well. And Israel Hill might fit that profile really well for us. On tape, again, I don't know his athleticism, but on tape, that length just pops on tape. And with the pass breakups he gets, I think he could be a definite possibility. Again, he's all over the board. PFM has him at 231, Draft Network 123, and PFF 166. So, I think his issue is just teams might not completely know how to or where to slot him in at. So, I kind of think he's going to drop all the way down to around 6 or so, but we'll see. I don't know the rest of the measurables. You get some private workouts and you post some good 40 times or 3-cone drills, and that number is going to go, in my opinion, way up. So another guy to keep an eye on is Jason Pinnock out of Pitt. Interesting, 6 foot 204, very athletic, one of the most athletic guys. 4'9", 39.5-inch vert, 10.8 broad jump, 4.1 short shuttle, and a 6.9 3-cone drill, and 15 reps. Let's see here. Cover 3 fit is exactly what he's fit for. He had the second lowest completion percentage rate against in 2019 at 37%. So he can definitely cover. He has potential to play safety as well. But, he looks like he might be an undrafted guy. PFM has him at 265. Draft Network didn't even grade him. And PFF, 218. So, 7th rounder UDFA guy. If he fell to UDFA, it would be definitely a guy we'd want to target for that. But, very good coverage skills. I think it's somebody that you'd want to take a shot at with that athletic profile. So somebody to keep in mind. So the other part I wanted to look at was potential slot guys. Look at some of the slot guys like that Gus Bradley's had, like Desmond King, 5'8.5", 201, 31-inch arms, 9-inch hands, 74 wingspan, 40 at 4'6" for Desmond King, vertical 34, 11.7 broad jump, so athletic, 4.18 short shuttle, and a 6.67 3-cones, and a 14 bench presses. And then Casey Hayward, I know, does both, but I put him as a slot just as a comparison. 5'9.5", 192, 30-inch arms, 4.47 40, so faster than Desmond King, 34 vert, 11.9 broad jump, so basically the same. A 3.9 short shuttle, which is fantastic. A 6.76 3-cone, and 19 bench presses. So kind of give you an idea of maybe where you would need to be with Gus Bradley. So one guy I would take a look at, and I put him on here mainly because of the Senior Bowl he had. He had 2 picks in the individual drills, which almost never happens. But Trey Brown, 5'9", 3/4, 185. So a little lighter than maybe some of the other guys that maybe Gus would want. 440, 40, 38 vert. So he's got that 10.3 broad jump, 4.27 short shuttle, but a 7.08 3-cone and 13 bench press reps. So not sure the profile, but he looks a lot faster than that. Like when you watch him, he seems quicker than that. So it's somebody to keep an eye on. I'm not saying I would take him. PFM has a 197, Draft Network 139, PFF 98. They really value him. That 98, that's a third round grade. I think he's going to go somewhere in the fourth. I mean, if he was sitting there in the fifth round, I think that might make sense for the Raiders. Just concerned with his 3-cone drill. But, I mean, he showed out at the Senior Bowl, which is always good. And as a kick returner, so you have that benefit for us as well. So there's an option there. It's impossible if we just said, you know what, Arnette's definitely playing outside. We're going to get a veteran outside cornerback, but we need to bolster our slot and give Keeson some competition and Meek some competition, and this could be the guy to do it. So keep him on the radar. Another guy I was going to talk about, and him and the next guy I'll talk about ended up on today on Fanside on their mock draft. Kerry Vincent. Kerry Vincent out of LSU, 5'9", 3/8", 185. See here, 78 wings, or 74 wingspan, 4.39 40, very good, 34.5 for 9.9 broad jump, but only 8 on the bench press. So I'm not sure he has the strength that we'd be looking for our slot cornerback. Because our slot cornerback's a nickel quarterback. He's going to have to be able to tackle. And Kerry Vincent looked like he can tackle, but with that strength, it might be difficult in the NFL to get away with it. When I watch Kerry's film, a lot of off-slot coverage. In fact, a lot of times it looked like a safety. And there's plenty of tape where he basically starts kind of in the slot and drops all the way back to the safety position. And actually has really good ball skills, got interceptions. Actually, the Raiders might be considering him as a possible free safety because he has some good film doing it. So I'm not sure Fanside put him on there. They put him on there as a cornerback, but I see him more as a safety than I do as a free safety than I do as maybe a slot cornerback. But it still has some great skills, some ball skills. 4.39 was excellent 40. The only problem I have is that he didn't do the short shuttle or the 3-cone, so I don't know of his movement skills. So that's something that's of concern to me. The other guy that they had listed was Mondoy Lenore. I think is how you say it. I'm not really sure. Out of Oregon. And again, he's another guy. And I didn't write down his draft stats or where he's predicted at, but I believe he was pretty much all over the place. But he was 5'11", 195, so it kind of meets the height length criteria. 4.48 40, 34.5 for 10.1 broad jump, 4.35 short shuttle, which is not very good for a slot cornerback, and a 7.02. 3-cone, which is outside of where we would want to be. Like if you went back up and look at Trey Brown, 4.27 and 7.08 3-cone. Both those guys, I'm concerned with those numbers for these two guys. I mean, Lenore, a lot of people are really high on him, and they may be considering a little bit more as an outside cornerback, but I don't think outside cornerback would fit the Raiders at 5'11". So I'm not sure what we're going to do with him. I kind of think he'd be a 6th round pick. But he had 15 bench press reps, so he has the strength to play inside. I just don't know with those numbers at a 4.35 short shuttle. I don't know if you're going to be able to get away with that in the NFL. Another guy that's talked about a lot is Rashod Goose out of Wisconsin. He's 5'11", 190, 4.4 140, 36 vert, which is good. 12.0 broad jump was really good. A 7 3-cone and 11 bench press. So strength needs to get a little bit better. Not great ball production. He had 1 interception his entire career, I believe, at Wisconsin. So getting a lot of hype from him. I'm not sure he would be the slot guy that we might want. PFM has a 284, Draft Network 195, and PFF has a 115, which that's a 4th round grade. I mean, I kind of see him jumping in 5th or 6th round, kind of that area is where I see him. I mean, PFN has an undrafted, which is possible. I mean, we'll see. So I'm not really that high on the traditional slot cornerbacks in this draft. So, but I am high on the other guys like getting a Trey Williams or Marco Wilson specifically. Marco Wilson would be a fantastic pickup for us because he can play both and do it at a high level. Trey Williams, Paulsen Adebo also would be a great pickup. Anyways, We'll finish off where I have the cornerback class. And this is a guy whose name that I think you should keep a close eye on is Avery Williams out of Boise State. 5'8", 187, so maybe a little bit lighter. A 4.43 40, 34 vert, 12.1 broad jump, 4.02 short shuttle, and 6.88 three cone. Awesome numbers. 19 bench press. But one of the reasons I put him on here is because he has 9 career TDs returning either kickoffs or punts. And he also has 5 blocked field goals. So I do believe the Raiders are going to be looking for somebody in the draft, especially if we get rid of Rashod and Keeson, to return punts and kicks. And this guy does both. He does it at a very high level. He's very good at it. And he can even play special teams like blocking 5 field goals. He can do a lot in special teams as well. So if you're not sure about him playing the slot cornerback position right away, he still gives you the value of the return game, which I think we definitely need. However, that athletic profile, you're going to bank on that. A 4.02 short shuttle and a 6.88 three cone. He does 19 reps on the bench, so he's strong enough to play the slot. 4.43 40. Everything you would want is there for a slot cornerback. So, I mean, I would definitely take a shot at him. I mean, PFN has him at 234, Draft Network 211. PFF didn't even grade him. I have him at round 6. I mean, it would be a great pickup for the Raiders. Plus, you're getting that huge upside, and I think we need it on that special teams. So definitely keep an eye on Avery Williams. So, out of this group, I mean, depending on what we do with Arnette. So if Arnette is not going to be an outside cornerback, then I think we have to. If we're not going to get the veteran, Melifano would be good. Although I don't really want to pick a cornerback in round 2. Debo, I think, would be a great fit for us, ideal fit, I guess, because he can't play some slot. He can play either side, and he's perfect for cover 3. I think we could get him there in the 3rd round. He's got all the measurables we would be looking for. Robert Richelle, I'm not convinced on because of his hip tightness and his strength. I'm not sure if he's a fit, and he's only 5'11", so on the outside, I'm not sure that's a fit. Benjamin St. Juste, that we got later in the draft, I think would be fine with that length that he has. Kind of that 4th round, I think that would be fine. That short shuttle is awesome. The recon drill is awesome, so a good pickup there. A couple guys in the middle rounds would be good. Trey Williams, I really like just his versatility. He can play in and out. He can play safety. I really like the athleticism of Marco Wilson. Play inside, outside. This would be a great pick. He's got the strength. In the 4th round, if we were able to get him, and again, Chris Sims has a list as a top 6 cornerback in the draft. So there's definitely some talent that would fit the Raiders' needs. Some of these slot cornerbacks, I'm not too convinced on. I kind of like some of these other bigger cornerbacks that can play inside and outside. It gives us more flexibility, especially with Arnette, if we're not sure what we're going to do with him or not. But anyways, that's kind of what I got for the Raider roster report today, kind of going over our cornerback situation and some names to keep an eye on in the draft. Again, if you like it, please hit the like button, subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps out. Add comments, kind of like to see where Raider Nation's at on the cornerbacks and kind of where you feel that we're at. And anyways, definitely getting closer to the draft. It's almost here. And next video I'll cover another position group. And until next time, this is Raider Sparks. Thanks for listening.